Hey everybody, and welcome to Falcon Spotlights. Today's feature title is going to be none other than Black Ice. Black Ice is basically, as you can tell by the background alone, I'm not reviewing a Tron game, that's for sure, or previewing altogether. Tron's an old system, probably a system I played in my youth growing up, because I'm a very old man, but no, that's not the case altogether. Let's just jump into a new game here really quickly. Now, here is what Black Ice is. Now, if you're wondering, if I wanted to give you a quick representation of what this is, wasp to move around, pick up loot cube, yada yada yada, right? I could do this. Believe me, I'm new to PC games, but I got this shit unlocked, let me tell you. Open your inventory with E or I to check. So, this is our inventory right here and our stats all together. I will get into this more in depth in a bit, but let's see. Hack the server building by getting close, aiming at it, and pressing right click. So basically, the premise, this right here is the premise of Black Ice at the moment. Hacking these buildings, essentially, you're a very angry man, you kind of want to bring down the establishment of the government and whatnot, so you're going to do this to cyberspace by hacking these buildings and whatnot in order to bring down the man. It's kind of very Rage Against the Machine, fist pump in the air type of thing, fuck you, won't do what you tell me. Easy target manufacturer, this is going to be our first target, so let's go ahead and hack this really quick just to get you an idea of how the flow of battle is in Black Ice altogether. Now, when you initiate a hack, you're going to be engaged in the situation with a few of these web crawlers essentially coming right at you, which is pretty fitting considering you are essentially in cyberspace. So the fact that the enemies are kind of like these web crawler type of things kind of goes hand in hand with the whole, aesthetic and feel of the game of being in cyberspace altogether. Let me go ahead and pick up this loot cube here. So essentially, level up by pressing T. So let's go ahead and check out my stats really quick. I guess it's better to do it now than later. Our stats right here, as you can see, are really basic. Faster hack speed, hack range. These are basically the ones I'll probably cover most of the part because everything else is pretty basic here. Percentage weapon damage, obviously your DPS, faster attack speed, weapon range, critical hit chance, accuracy, movement speed, loot find. All this is basically basic stats that you are going to be accustomed to if you've played any, game with stats altogether at any point in your life. So I'll focus on the important ones in a bit. So for now, let's go ahead and get out of the tutorial really quickly. Few pro tips for us over here. You guys remember Pro Gamer, Game Pro magazine? Jesus Christ, I actually was subscribed to that thing for like 5-6 years as a child growing up, and I actually have a few of those issues still saved up, and I look at them on occasion, I'm just kind of like, man, these are like the worst, like one of the worst terrible magazine manufacturers of all time. Like, those things were terrible. Pro tips, my ass. Alright, so either way, let's see here. So let's get into another combat. What I wanted to get at by looking at our stats here was faster hack speed and hack range. Our hack stats are basically inclined exactly to what you will see right now. When I click this building right here or decide to hack it, you'll see a line that shows up that kind of connects me to the building. That right there is when this line, there's going to be a little kind of cursor that kind of moves up. The moment that cursor from our line to this building connect, it means that this building is hacked. So without further ado, check this out really quickly here. And this is what I mean right here, right? So while this is going on, you actually have to fight off enemies and whatnot. This is what initiates the hack. As you can see, the hack time remaining right there in the UI tells you how much time you have left before you are done fighting these guys momentarily, and there you go. So that actually landed there on time. So that hack bar, I guess, that I showed off is going to basically be tied exactly to the hack remaining timer, right? And actually, as a matter of fact, so the faster the hack speed, the faster the timer will go down. And the hack range is essentially how far you could actually be away from the building for hacking it. This right here shows your hack's range altogether, this green bar. Now, if you move out of this bar, it cancels the hack. So basically, that's basically your limit. You kind of want to stick in that confine. You can't just, basically hack a building and run the fuck off, right? And be like, yeah, well, you know what? You guys can't catch me. I'm just gonna run around these, colorful buildings meanwhile this happens. You can't do that, right? Because, then you'd be kind of fucking the system over. And, you're not supposed to do that, right? This is cyberspace. Everything in cyberspace is legal and by the rules. There's no shortcuts or, pirate measures or anything like that altogether, right? So let's go ahead and hack this really quickly here. I just spawned, basically I started off in a spawn point on one of these guys. So the enemies are kind of like laid out like, this kind of like one of the War of the Worlds type of monsters and whatnot. But they also have like a really cute and this little web crawler design that you would kind of like, imagine cyberspace would be like, right? I mean, essentially, right here, all this is what I imagined cyberspace to be growing up as a child. This whole kind of like weird, crazy look and whatnot. I mean, nowadays I know a difference. Now I know it's kind of like, just a bunch of old men that kind of disguise themselves as little girls online just to get into some unsavory actions and lead you to believe that there's somebody or not, and then you're kind of getting engaged in some sort of, heat and savory chat moments, and, you know, next thing you know, you find out they're a guy, and, you know, never mind, though, that's not the case altogether. Avoid that altogether here. So, let me go back to my stats really quickly here before getting into more battles so you can check this out here. Maximum RAM and faster RAM return are the other things. Now, this, again, is really theme-oriented to the game altogether. Obviously, we're doing the whole cyberspace type of thing. You're hacking buildings, right? Trying to bring down the imperialist government down. So, maximum RAM and faster RAM return, what does those mean altogether? Well, as you can see on our bottom left in our UI, you'll see the RAM that says 30 out of 30, right? At the moment, you gotta upgrade that. I actually haven't upgraded any of my things, so just so you can see RAM, let's go ahead and do a maximum RAM plus 1, and let's do 2. So confirm talents and return. As you can see now, our RAM is 40 out of 40, right? What the RAM works as is essentially your mana, your stamina, whatever you want to call it in terms of any RPG you've ever played, any tabletop, etc., etc. This kind of guides everything you do. So let me go ahead and shoot really wildly for a second here. As you can see, our RAM is going down, right? If I jump, our RAM goes down. If I run, our RAM goes down. Everything is tied to the RAM, right? So basically, just think of it as your stamina bar. Everything that you do is tied to your RAM, so you can't screw around too much. So let's go ahead and get into this one battle here. Now, all of these buildings are basically, if you've noticed, they are titled with at least a hack difficulty, right? Essentially, we want to stick to the easier ones to begin with in order to kind of build ourselves up. Basically, this game is going to be really grindy, very loot-oriented, very level-up-oriented, right? Like any other dungeon crawler that just revolves on that aspect alone. That's why I said, you know, this game kind of really reminds me of, you know, Borderlands and Diablo kind of like coming together hand in hand, like, you know, perfect harmony, and then, you know, I guess get engaged in some sort of in-your cores action in the background, and then in the background you have Tron playing. And that's what this is, this child is this, Black Ice, and I mean that in the most positive manner. Believe me, I really dig the whole aesthetic to this whole game altogether. Hack difficulty 5, so we've been doing 4s, let's get into a 5 here. And where are these guys? Alright, so for 5, we're gonna get this dude. This guy, think of this guy as a bit of kind of an asshole, doesn't want to die for one. Kind of a little mini-boss, essentially. At times, you'll be engaged with those big-ass dudes, right? And they are nothing to fuck around with. As you can see, my RAM is pretty low there. When you level up, you'll actually get your health back, so that's a plus as well. I got leveled up there, so let's go ahead and, for the most part, just do more maximum RAM, and let's do loot find. The other thing that I wanted to focus on was indeed loot. Every time you hack a building, more than often, every single time, you'll get loot. Not always, but most of the times. And basically, loot is the other big part of this whole, I guess, algorithm altogether, if you want to see it that way. The fact that you level up your stats, you get stronger and stronger, but you also need loot, you need better equipment, right? And the equipment ranges from a lot of things altogether. Now, this here I wanted to show as well. This is going to be health that I just picked up right there. Your health bar, obviously indicated by health, 109 out of 120. This is either regained by leveling up or picking up that little red cross that I did. You'll also get some, I suppose you could call them items. Speaking of items, look at our items over here. There's going to be an item that I'll show off in one of my other saves that regains your health, so I'll show that off really quickly. For now, though, let's look at our items for once. Let's see, over here right now we have the noob cabinet equipped, right? DPS 12, 1 out of 4, 92. I also picked this up, which is a laser gun. DPS 15, 1 out of 2, accuracy 100, cooldown 0.0, 15, and RAM consume 6. So our RAM consume for this guy is a lot higher than this, right? So that's something to keep in mind, but at least to show it off, let's go ahead and equip that for now. Your script kitty is basically what you use in order to hack the buildings. Right now, we're looking at one that has 1 hacking speed, 17 range, and 1 RAM. We picked up one with 120 and 1, so this one's a bit better, so let's go ahead and activate that. And let's get out of here really quickly. Now, the gun that we equip now is kind of a laser gun, as you can see, right? So there's going to be aesthetic differences to most of the weapons as well. Right now, I just picked up a beam gun. Let's check that out really quickly, see if there's any difference here. This one is has a drunk stat as well, so I actually noticed that about the game. I'm not entirely sure. If you look over here to the view under the view talents, this is basically connected to your actual stats themselves. Everything else here is basically reminiscent of what's over in your stats. However, I noticed there's a drunk thing down here, the third to the bottom one, which is, you know, I'm not entirely sure what that does yet. I haven't really ran into it. You know, I'd imagine it probably is kind of indication of what goes on in my real life. Believe me, Mom and Dad, I don't have a drinking problem. I can stop whenever I want to. There's no real reason to have these, I guess, meetings every other weekend, you know, getting my family and friends around and telling me how it's changing my life and, you know, making it difficult for everybody to live around me. I could stop, believe me. Either way, though, that's not the case right now. That's what therapy's for, not this. So, either way, so what's the point of black eyes altogether? I've shown off, us hacking buildings. One here, let's get into another building hacking meanwhile. Well, the point of black eyes, essentially, you want to keep leveling up. You want to keep leveling, bring down the establishment altogether. Alright, I ran out of RAM for this guy here. This gun is kind of not the best gun for me at the moment, it seems. Okay, and there I died. As you can see, really bad idea equipping that laser gun because it was taking up too much of my RAM. And that guy just took me down altogether. But it's a good way to actually show off what happens when you die. When you die, there's no real big ultimatum loss, right? You just respawn again. You will lose bit credits. Bit credits are used at certain shops that are up and around. A lot of the shops, I haven't really run into one that's like this one, for instance, Rankin Software Store. Hack difficult 350, so you still have to hack it in order to access the store and buy items. But, hack difficult 350. What happens if I hack on a 350 item at my current level? Well, there we go. Let's try it out just for the instance of it. So we're going to have a few enemies. Well, you're not even going to see an enemy. He's going to rear end me altogether. As you can see, what happened was, however, that the enemies are strong as hell. And also, our hacking, length took forever as well. We were not going to be able to just run around and avoid enemies, believe me. So, altogether, though, what is the premise of this game altogether? Well, for now, believe me, this is a free game first and foremost. It's very early development. It's worked on by one dude altogether named Garrett Cooper. Really cool guy. I'll drop the information below so you can kind of go check out the game. Check it out for yourself because it's free for one. And it's really, really fun. It is time for your type of game altogether. But the guy that's working on it, Garrett Cooper, a very cool guy as well. He's really open, very active in the forums and whatnot. He's over in IndieDB and GameJolt. People, leave him comments. Oh, I'd like to see this, and he works around how to implement that. If there's a bug that you find, he'll go ahead and fix it the moment you tell him. Really cool guy, really active with the community, which is really good. So altogether, the point of the game. Well, the point of the game is this. You found it. The goal of your quest and the end of the line. Hack the server Finality Inc. to win. Finality Incorporated, hack difficulty 500. So this monstrosity right here is basically, believe me, this is Space Odyssey. I can't let you do that, Dave. Well, are you gonna let me try to hack you right now? I'm gonna show off to YouTube what happens when I try to get involved with you, and I'm only like, what, level 4? So, essentially what happened with the shop is what's gonna happen right here. Hey, guys. Well, there you go. Oh, it just took one shot altogether. Alrighty, either way, so let's go ahead and continue one more time. So that's basically your goal. That building right there is what you want to hack. So, but you want to hack, that wasn't necessarily a reference to Juana Man, basketball urban comedy of, a man dressing up as a woman in order to make it big in the WNBA. Is WNBA even still around? I can't believe I'm referencing the WNBA in one of my videos, by the way. Certainly something I didn't ever expect to do, but, I guess it's still around. If the WNBA is still around, believe me, I mean no disrespect by that. A good to you to stand around. You're kind of, persevering and overcoming the odds over here. Either way, so, hack this guy, and now we leveled up a bit more. Get this item here, and let's see here. Alright, excellent. So, this is one of the other things I wanted to show off here, was actually some of the skills that you acquire. I'll probably check out my big save for that, and I'll actually be wrapping this up really quickly here. But the heal ability is this guy right here, right? You equip stuff to your hotbar, right? You could equip anything anywhere. You could even switch shift. If you don't want to run with shift for some reason, you could switch it over to space, and you could jump with shift. You don't even have to shoot with left click. You can move it to 2 if you want. Believe me, that's really open for you to kind of mess around with altogether. So I equipped this the heal ability at 1. What that does is, since I'm in max health, you won't really see much of a difference, but it is going to be really important in later game when you're not leveling up as often and not enough health drops are falling and you need health. Well, you need to get yourself one of these heal abilities. For the heal abilities, you hit 1, and as you can see, plus 5 health. Basically, it's one of the, I guess, man, I got like a really good one early on. Usually at this point, I just get the plus 1s. This is a plus 5 health, so, per second, you're going to plus 5 health, which is good. Between hacks, you want to invest in one of these and just kind of hang out and get your health back before, go back into the fray of things. So let's go ahead and, you know what, actually, matter of fact, let's get quit here really quick. No, don't save and quit, because it's going to erase my old game, I believe. So let's go ahead and quit really quickly here and do a load game. Now, if I'm correct, level 11, right? So this is my bigger save that I've been kind of working out off my off time and whatnot. For this one, I just kind of want to show off some of the more skills that I didn't have with the other things. Now, for this guy altogether, over here at 4, I have... Let me put you at 3, because I already showed off the health thing. And let's see here. The beam gun, the noob cannon, the ray gun. I had what I could only describe mega laser. Okay, let's try that out. Sure, why not? Now, again, there's a lot of skills that as you progress through the game, they will come available to you, believe me. Let's go ahead and do this guy on 4, I suppose. So, for the first one on number 1, we have a plasma ball. Plasma ball, as you can see, there it is, that's your plasma ball, right? It's really sporadic. You kind of might not want to, rely on that too early on. Number 2 is showing a mine. When you use the mine, basically, you'll set up, it usually shows up in combat, not when you're kind of messing around the overspace. But basically, when you're in combat, you use 2, and you'll throw up a mine, and, if you make these enemies go through the mine, it'll, believe me, mess up their life really quickly. 3 is showing a zoom scope type of thing that I have, as you can see, zoom in and whatnot. 4 is, not entirely sure what 4 is. Oh, 4 is kind of like this weird hovering projectile thing which kind of guides and whatnot, so that's actually pretty good if you have the RAM for it. And number 5 was that mega laser, and as you can see, Jesus Christ, that's pretty crazy altogether. Alright guys, so basically, as you can tell, this game is really early on, free game altogether right now, so be sure to check it out on that premise alone. It's a really, really fun game if you're into the whole, I guess, dungeon looting, stats upgrade type of thing and whatnot. The aesthetic is really plain, but really appealing to the eye, believe me. The music, the soundtrack is also pretty interesting as well. It actually makes you want to keep playing and whatnot. It doesn't feel like a grind whatsoever, even though that is what the game entirely is. It's a grind altogether. So, with that, check out the information I'll leave below, and, be sure to, if you like the game, let the developer know what you'd like to see involved in and what you'd like to see more of, and if you see any bugs, be sure to drop it out and let him know. He'll definitely look it out and, add more things to it depending on what you have to say. Believe me, he's really active, so that's really cool. So once again, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this Falcon Spotlight altogether of Black Guys, and I will catch you guys on the next one.